Hello, Misfits, and welcome. In today's video, we're talking about 5 of the absolute hardest ways to find a group of people to play with, and one really awesome solution. Today's video is sponsored by StartPlaying, but more on them later. We've all been there. You have decided you want to get into tabletop role-playing games, whether that be Dungeons & Dragons, or Pathfinder, or Call of Cthulhu, or something else entirely. It sounds awesome, you want to play it, but now you have to find people to play with. It's not easy. It has never been easy. And while there's more variety to how you might go about finding a group to play with, a lot of the options and means of doing that still leave so much to be desired. So let's talk about the first way that you can find a group to play with. That would be in person, which is arguably one of the hardest ways to do it. So if you're trying to put your group together and you're just going off of people that you find and meet in person in the area that you live, you're gonna have some immediate limitations. So when you're trying to put together a group in person, the first thing you're gonna be limited by is the people in your area. Maybe D&D, maybe ttrpgs don't have a big presence in your city or town, and so there's just not a lot of people that know about them or want to play them, and that's going to limit you off the bat. Also, you might not know where to find these people. Maybe your town doesn't have a local gaming store, and so there's really just not an easy way to get plugged in, and so you're just sort of asking either people you know or random people and just hoping for the best. It's definitely a struggle. That's how my group came together, and it's how a lot of horror stories can start. You know, you just sort of try to find the people that you can, and sometimes they work for you, and sometimes they don't. It's a lot of luck of the draw there, and you're gonna notice that trend throughout this video. And maybe you have a solid group of friends. Maybe you have a lot of people that you really enjoy hanging out with. But here's the thing, good friends don't always make good players. That's a hard truth to accept, but it is true. You know, you might be really good friends with somebody, you might really enjoy them as a person, but maybe they just aren't suited for TTRPGs, or they aren't suited for the style of game that you are looking for. It doesn't mean they're a bad person, it just means they're probably not going to work out at your table. And let's say you do find people to play with, whether they are the right people to play with or not, you have found them. Now you have to find a place to play the game. If you're going in person, this is an added component to it. So do you have a table big enough for this game, or are you going to do what I did in my first years, where the biggest surface we had was the coffee table, so we would take everything off the coffee table and roll the map out there, and we'd all sit on either the couch or the floor and just kind of make do with the situation going on there. This is an added thing. You also might have to contend with commuting to whoever is hosting this game, or making sure you're prepping your space if you're the one hosting it. It's just an added layer there that you're gonna have to consider if you're finding people in person to play with. And of course, there's always the scheduling and commitment issues. Even if they live in the same area, they still are probably gonna have some scheduling conflicts, and a lot of people are gonna struggle to commit to the game. I know a lot of times you start with a one-shot and then try to get into the campaign, but it can be tricky. I literally actively right now, I have some friends in town that are trying to put a game together, and we're just really struggling to find enough people to commit to playing this game. It's just literally, it's just so difficult every single time. And, sometimes you luck out and find a good group, and sometimes it's like nails on a chalkboard, or like herding cats, just trying to get people to just play a game. Another option is to use Discord to find people to play with. So this is where we pretty much everything else on this list is going to be some sort of online-based option. And each of them have their own pitfalls. But let's talk about Discord first. So the thing about Discord is you kind of have to find the right server, and sometimes that involves knowing the right people to get into the right Discord server. Sometimes it's just a big open server, and the quality of the people in that server might depend on who's moderating it, or, what the core values of that server are. And on top of that, at the end of the day, you don't really know these people that well. I mean, you might have a friend that's in the server, but there are going to be a lot of strangers in there too. And the thing about Discord is, unless there's some sort of social media account tied to their Discord account, there's really not a great way to kind of suss out the individuals on Discord. There's a little bit of anonymity there, which might be good as somebody who is just posting on a Discord, but it might be hard if you're looking for players or a potential DM or GM. You kind of want to know who you're getting, and now you're going to have to probably strike up some sort of conversation and feel people out, or, be a little bit of a creep and go look at the things that they comment and post and like and stuff through the conversation. It can be a little awkward. So it's just like an added component to finding people through Discord that might be a bit challenging. I feel like most of the time you're just going to be hoping for the best, honestly. It's going to be just a little bit more of a gamble if you're finding people through Discord. Another thing is you're probably going to have to contend with time zone issues, probably, depending on the server and, if it's meant to be, a local server or if it's, a very widespread sort of fandom server. You're probably going to have to commit, you're probably going to have to deal with people being in different time zones. And obviously, scheduling and commitment issues. Those don't just go away. Maybe you find people that want to play a game, but you're still going to have to find some time when everybody's schedules line up, and you're going to have to get them to actually commit to the game. Early in my days of DMing, I was looking for another player to add to the table, and I very nearly got somebody from Discord because I just couldn't find anybody in person at the time, and it was a struggle, and I literally didn't know anything about them, and it was the most stressful thing, this idea of just adding a complete stranger to my game with all the people that I have known for years and years and years. And it almost happened, but we ended up, there was a friend of mine that wanted to join, and the rest is history. So it's I don't know. I'm not much of a gambler, so Discord is not necessarily my go-to for finding a group to play with. And of course, that brings us to another option, Reddit. I know we have seen tons of Reddit threads about D&D horror stories, but also some people use Reddit to find games to join or find people to play with. In a lot of ways, it's similar to Discord in that there's a little bit of anonymity there. You don't necessarily know who these people are, and really one of the only ways to find out is to look at the things that they post, look at how they respond and reply to people. It's kind of a lot of work on you to sort of suss out who these people are, which can be a little daunting. It can be a little scary. And there's just going to be that sort of luck, sort of gamble aspect to it. You just don't know if these are going to be the right people. And you're going to have to do some testing to see if that's going to work. Again, you might have some time zone issues because, it could be from all over. And again, you're probably going to have more like scheduling and commitment issues as well. None of that's going to go away. Even if it's a different platform, you're still going to have to contend with that. Another thing that honestly could apply to probably any of the things I'm listing is you're going to have more people that want to be players than want to be GMs. So you're probably going to have trouble finding a GM. And for the people that are posting saying, I want to GM a group, who wants to join, it can be this sort of first come, first serve, sort of all running in and rushing to comment on this post. And, you might miss out. Another place you might find a gaming group would be through Facebook. There are tons of groups on Facebook dedicated to different things. I'm a member of a couple of them, and, those groups are super fun. Some of them are private, some of them are public, so that adds another layer there. The private groups might be a little bit more selective, and a lot of times you have to have answered things or affirmed that you agree with certain things in order to be accepted into that group, whereas, a public open group is sort of a free-for-all, so there's a difference there than some of the other things we have talked about. Also, at least on Facebook, everybody is sort of, tied to a Facebook account. So I guess if you really wanted to do some snooping and try to vet who you're going to play with, you could click on their profile and look at them there and get maybe an inkling of who they are. But, not everybody is active on their Facebook. Not everybody has a super fleshed out profile that's going to tell you a lot about them. So that's something to keep in mind. And again, the work is definitely going to be on you to figure out if you want to, sort of suss out this person or just hope for the best. Like all of these other online things, you're probably going to have some time zone issues. There are going to be people in these Facebook groups that are from all different parts of the country or the world, so keep that in mind. And again, you're going to have the scheduling and commitment issues. I very nearly joined I tried to join a group through Facebook. So there was somebody that had posted and they were looking for players for a group, and they listed, the type of game they were going for and, when they sort of wanted to play, and it sounded interesting. It sounded like something I could do. And then basically it almost immediately fell apart. We just couldn't get people to come together on schedules or commit to coming to the different sessions. There was disconnect on the style of game that, the GM wanted versus what some of the players were looking for. It turned into sort of back and forth, and I felt like we spent more time sort of talking and not enough time actually getting into a session 0 and actually playing. And honestly, it was pretty frustrating. And as far as I could tell, it just never came to fruition, and nothing happened with that. So that's a thing to contend with, and I imagine that happens pretty often on Facebook. Now, getting into something, I guess, a little bit more legit and specifically designed for helping you find groups and people to run your games, there's Roll20. So Roll20 has this sort of find a game feature. So if you are looking to join a game online, you can specifically try to do that through Roll20. Of course, you're going to be limited to games being run on Roll20, and I know a lot of people don't run their games on Roll20. We've got Owlbear Rodeo, we've got Foundry. Some people just do Discord or Zoom. Some people use Google Meets and stuff. There are a bunch of different ways in which you can run your game. So Roll20 is going to limit you to specifically their platform. Something else about Roll20 is when you're searching for a game, you can put in keywords, but you're putting in keywords for the game you are searching for, not necessarily for the GM. So you're searching just for a game, not really for a GM. Then afterwards you can look through all the games and see who's running them and kind of suss some stuff out there, but you sort of have to get into that section first. Also, when you do finally look at the list of available games matching, your specifications, there are little bios next to the GMs, but they're very, very limited. There's no rating system next to these GMs, so it's hard to really know if they are proven to be GMs and DMs of good quality. And I still will hear of people that try to hop into these Roll20 games and they fell apart. There's not as much of a vetting process there, so it's just difficult to know if that's going to work out. So all of these are ways in which you could find people to play with, people to run your games, groups to do ttrpgs with, but there are so many drawbacks to all of these options. All 5 of these leave a lot to be desired, and I know that there are other means of finding games than just these, but these are some of the big 5 that I think about. But there is a website that is specifically designed for connecting you with games and GMs, and it is StartPlaying. StartPlaying is the largest online platform for players to find tabletop role-playing games and professional GMs for any game system and any virtual tabletop. I think a lot of these shortfallings of these other means is they're not specifically designed for connecting you with potential GMs or tables to play with. Roll20 is probably the closest, but I believe it was designed first as just a means of playing online before it was a means of finding people to play with online. So that's a shortfalling of it. But let's talk about StartPlaying. StartPlaying was specifically designed for connecting you with professional GMs and helping you find tables to play with online. StartPlaying is part D&D Group Finder and part Games Finder. They can connect you with professional GMs and DMs that are running games all over the world. And when you are looking through the GMs that they have on StartPlaying, they give you a very nice fleshed out bio. It shows you their experience as both a player and as a game master. It also shows you how many games they have hosted. It also has a rating next to them. You know, ooh, this person has a 5 or this person has a 4.5, you know? So you have an idea of how the different players enjoyed their experience with that GM. That's really useful information to have. You can also see how much these professional GMs charge. But as far as I can tell, it's a very reasonable price. I normally see things between $10 and $35. And if paid professional GMs scare you, just consider that if you are paying money to play in this game, you are far less likely to drop out and cancel. You do not have the commitment issues that you have in all of these other methods, because these are people that they've put their money into this. They want to be a part of this and see it through, at the very least, so that they have used up their money's worth, but because they care about it. So that's an added layer that's going to sort of give you a sense of commitment and dedication to the game that you are joining. When you're searching for games specifically, it is pretty much all of the things that Roll20 had, and then way more. When searching for games, you can search for keywords, you can search for what type of platform they play the game on. Is it Foundry? Is it Roll20? Is it Owlbear Rodeo? Is it something else entirely? You can also search for the type of game system they're using, and it's literally every single game system that I have ever seen. It's great. And you can also see if the game is brand new or if it's ongoing. And for each of these games, you can see how many spots are left and you can hop in. The worst part about finding a group to play with, about finding someone to run your game, is the unknown. I mean, honestly, one of the scariest things in the world, period, is the unknown. And StartPlaying is really working to limit these unknown factors. They're trying to give you the answers that you're looking for so that you have a sense of calm and you feel like you're going to be taken care of and you're going to get exactly what you're looking for in a game and in a group. To get into StartPlaying and find the table and the GM that works for you, please click my affiliate link in the description below, and it will also provide you with some credit towards the first game you play. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, if you found this useful to you, please feel free to like and subscribe. All of that really helps, but more importantly, leave a comment down below. Tell me about some of your horror stories in trying to find a game. Tell me about the struggles in trying to find the people that you play with now. Let me know if you're still looking for people to play with, if that's still an active thing that you're having to deal with, because I mean, in a lot of ways it is for me. I've got my group that I play with, but I still can't get that local group to work out. It's just not working out. So I would love to hear about that. The engagement on these videos is what helps other people see it, helps other people find it. So that's really, really important to me. But with all of that said and done, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I will see you again next time. Whew. Whew, this is probably the last video I will record where this room looks the way that it does, because I'm about to have to empty that whole bookshelf and get ready to move it. So, eyes, look your last, because it's all about to go away. I've been procrastinating on packing so bad, but it's fine. It'll get done. It'll happen. It'll get done. Just a few things. I do want to encourage you to go check out my Zombie Road RPG review in case you haven't seen it. That game system is so much fun. The people working on it have really put a lot of love and care into it, so make sure you go check it out. I do believe their Game Found campaign is launching in September, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Of course, the campaign is coming back, so keep your eyes on the horizon for that. We have already recorded the first session, so I'm excited for you guys to see that as well. But with all of that, I hope you guys have a good day. I will see you next time.